Okay, well, the next match, for example, for both the Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling tag team titles, it's got to be a three-way, of course. We can't, I would have loved to see FTR, well, I would say against either one of these two teams, but Trent and Rocky Romero. Okay, I assume I understand it's been relayed that they work together in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Trent has been presented as a comedy goof with other people, and Rocky Romero, serious wrestler though he may be since he's come into this company and made appearances, hadn't exactly set the world on fire.
And he's also in The Office for them, isn't he?
I don't have any. What?
For New
Rocky
Japan.
Romero? Oh, yeah. For New Japan. I thought you meant for AEW. But why do this? Why poison Rocky by putting him together with Trent when we already know where Trent's pigeonholed? And then also, I know at least it ain't Chucklefuck, old Muffin Top Taylor. But they've got to work with Grado Khan and Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb looks like a star. We said that when he came in and lost his first match last year.
No, two years ago.
2 years ago. Grado Khan looks like apparently what he is, a fucking Fat Killer Khan cosplayer. So FTR had to deal with a team of underneath guys and a team that we don't know who the fuck they are. And this was snake bit. Do we know if Dax, was that a spot or was that a legitimate shoulder separation that he managed to get popped back in and get back out there?
I'm not exactly sure, but if it was an injury, they covered it up perfectly because you couldn't tell.
Well, let me say it like this. If it wasn't an injury, they did it perfectly because you couldn't tell.
If it was an injury, they also did it pretty well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When he dropped that elbow, and I watched it in slow motion a couple of times, that's either the greatest sell job in the world or he said, oh, I have fucked myself up. And anyway, it ended up being a great spot that he came back taped up, and we'll talk about who, too many pronouns, pal. We'll talk about this in a second. But at the same time, it ruined the rest of the match that Dax wasn't in. What happened was Trent and Dax start, and they did more and better wrestling in the first 30 seconds than we saw in the previous match entirely. And then as soon as Dax goes to do the drop toe hold elbow and he drops the elbow, boom, he hits hard with that elbow drop, and he grabs the other shoulder. And he rolls immediately out, and Cash looked shocked too. So the doctor comes over to check on him, and they take him to the back. And I'm thinking this was legitimate, and I wrote at this point, so the only thing that I want to see about this match is fucked. And then Grado and Cobb got heat on Cash, and the match both slowed down and got more indie style. As I said, Cobb is impressive. Grado, nah. Trent came in to absolutely no reaction and did a bunch of stuff. And at that point, I said, fuck it, I'm going to find the finish. Because without both members of FTR, this turned into the same match that every other match has. And as I'm hitting the fast forward, it's starting to go, and I see Dax coming back taped up, Spirit of 76. And Cash gives him the tag, and the people pop. And see, this, even if it actually would have made the match better to have him in the whole way, and even though, honestly, I think this was a shoot injury that he managed to return from, goddamn, the spot worked great because the people are so into FTR now because they are the best team in the world. People are starting to figure it out. So Dax makes the comeback. Cobb and Grado have no idea how to feed a fucking babyface for a comeback. It was brutal. Not only were they not bumping, but they weren't even feeding. I don't think they know how. It looked like they were confused. Then everybody fought everybody because it's a three-way and you couldn't follow it. It's just pops on bumps. FTR disappeared again for a while. And in this match, they had their window to go where when Dax came back and the big fucking pop and the comeback, which, and then they did some shit. Then they just kept going. And it started going down the other side of the hill. They did a big false finish on Cobb, and Cash made the save. And then Romero got in a deal with Dax, and he rolled him up, and the referee went down and counted 1, and then counted 2. I mean, 1 and then 1, 2, because somehow the shoulder wasn't up, but the people booed because they couldn't figure out what happened. It looked like a 3 count. And referees, if you're ever find yourself in that situation, if you can see that the shoulder, when you count 1 and the guy's shoulder inadvertently comes up or whatever, and you hold up and they get it back down and then you start the count again, don't just start the count again. When you make the 1 count and you see you're going to have to start again, when you raise your arm, wave it in the air, wave your 1 finger like, no, 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 like your mother's waving her finger at you. No, 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 you can't have that fucking candy. And then start again, and the people in the arena will get it. Anyway, so finally after that, FTR just hit the big rig on Rocky out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. And now they're the double champions. Thank goodness. Because we were afraid something else may happen. This could have been worse. I would have liked to have seen Dax in it the whole way, but I loved the spot, whether it was a work or a shoot. Your thoughts?
Everything FTR does right now is just great, and look at what's happened. They're now the most popular tag team there. Their pops, well, listen to the pop when they won. The pops for them are as big as any of the pops the Young Bucks have ever gotten in AEW. Now let's see how this all gets screwed up. That's what I'm afraid of. I hope Dax isn't seriously injured, but it was the FTR show. Jeff Cobb looks great. I'm not so sure about his opponent. A lot of fans who like the ironic nature of wrestling really like the Great Okan. Roppongi Vice have never done it for me. Trent, is one of these guys that needs to go away. In my eyes, he's been there since the beginning. And Rocky Romero doesn't
he's
do
a
much
good
for me.
worker. He's a good worker. If we hadn't seen him in shit from the beginning, then there might be something. But now it's just, please, too much. And his mother with the van.
The idea of Roppongi Vice staying around and having more matches in the tag team division, I don't want it. It's like, the fucking Bushwhackers returning in 95. I just want new teams. I want to see more Hobbs and Starks. I want to see more the Acclaimed. I don't want to see any more of these people. But anyway, the FTR are great.
Did you hear Juice Robinson and Sling Blade White do a backstage promo?
That was the first time I've ever heard Juice Robinson talk, yes.
Me too. Oh boy.
I liked it. It was different.
It's different, but it looks to me, everybody has the same kind of hair and beard and pulled back in a bun or a ponytail, and they're kind of lean and they're not particularly physically impressive, and they all talk like at the Fan Fest where they have a camera set up and fans get to go and do wrestling promos.